Hey, Grandma.
Yes.
Hey, I'm doing my speech now, so I'm going to ask you, do I have permission to begin?
Yes, you have.
Thank you. I love you. I'll call you back.
Love you.
All right, bye. Good morning. I am John Robinson Miller IV. I spent way too long thinking about what I was going to say today. All I knew was that the topic was about dreams and that I wanted to speak about Blackness. So who was the first person I thought about when I put together Black and Dream? Yep, MLK. But then I thought I couldn't possibly get out here with all my learning and recite something that we learned in the second grade. But here we go. With a spin and only as a foundation to my thinking. First, in 1963, the I Have a Dream that we all learned was not the first iteration of the speech. It was actually given 9 months prior to the March on Washington here in North Carolina, good old Rocky Mount to be exact. It was once Booker T. Washington High School gym, and near the close of that speech, he built towards these lines. I'm not gonna do an MLK impression because impressions are not my thing. He says, I have a dream that one day, right here in Rocky Mount, the former sons of slaves and the former sons of slave owners will meet at the table of brotherhood, knowing that one God brought man to the face of the earth. I have a dream tonight that one day my little daughter and my 2 sons will grow up in a world not conscious of the color of their skin, but only conscious of the fact that they are members of the human race. Now, historians don't say that this was the first time that he used the phrase, I have a dream, but they do state that this particular time was significant. It moved people in a way that he knew to grasp the hope onto something that was seemingly impossible. He declared it so. I have a dream. In his speech in the March on Washington, the first time he mentions the word dream is actually 1,041 words in. He actually says, so even though we face the difficulties of today and tomorrow, I still have a dream. It is the dream deeply rooted in the American dream. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. In this, he maintained his dream over time. He worked for the dream. He held on to the dream. In his last speech, the day before his assassination, about 5 years after the March on Washington, he only mentions the word dream twice. And it really didn't resonate in the same way that it did in the times before. But he does end with what would be a foreshadowing that shook humanity. He states, well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it doesn't matter with me now. I've been to the mountaintop, and I don't mind. And like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned with that now. I just want to do God's will. And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain and look over. And I've seen the promised land. Oh, I'm gonna take my mask off because we're up here. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. And I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He connected his dream to others and made sure that it was bigger than himself. It didn't matter whether he was there for the actual dream to actualize. It was our dream now. So looking at MLK's motto, this told me 3 things. 1, declare your dream. 2, maintain your dream. And 3, connect it to others so that it is bigger than yourself. Now, I wish I could end my talk there. Powerful, astute. But it was towards the end of the day when I wrote this and my Zoloft was wearing off, so my anxiety made me question everything that I had just said. Those questions started off with, do you really think you're MLK? That was cute, but what is a dream when I was never meant to be here? And lastly, what is an aspiration trapped in the birdcage of white supremacy? Well, then I asked myself, what is my dream? And my ramblings led me here. I do not dream of labor. I do not place my hope in institutions. I pour my physical self, my scholarly mind, my emotional being, and my astral form into the people that will liberate our grandchildren. They will name the colors not yet to be thought of and the inventions that will save the world. See, my dream is more black, more woman, more femme, more trans, more Muslim, more Cape Verdean, more intentional, more resource, more human, less orange. My dream looks like Lil Nas X, and before him Janelle Monáe, and before them Prince, and before him LaBelle, and before them Parliament Funkadelic, and before them like full voting rights, and before them like my great-great-great-grandmother's pride, and before her like charting the stars, and before them like the first rhythm on the drum. My dream has a soul and a rhythm, sounding like the wooden church floor, that fresh click of the snap peas, like the sunshine on my husband's face. When I try to remember, all I hear is the clave. The home, the island, the shore, the boat, the woods, and the tears. And if you listen closely, you can hear it too. When I try to find the source, all I can imagine is my grandfather breaking boundaries, integrating management as the only black manager of one of the largest bakeries while not being able to buy a Coke from the whites only vending machine. I imagine the tear-stained calculator I imagine the tear-stained calculator that my grandmother used for decades at Kmart as she tried to retain her humanity that she poured into her community in the face of whiteness. My dream is to exist unencumbered by colonization. I would like for my children to not have to dream of rest and ease in the same way that I want to win the lottery. I want to be enough. I want everyone to know that they are enough. I want you to know that black is plenty enough. I dream in black, different hues and textures, matte and glossy, theoretically in absolute black. I want to wonder how in the world can I be surrounded by black and yet see perfectly? Ashy black, purple black, so black that it's queer or peculiar. The black that is proud but can coexist with others. The black not seeking supremacy but only justice. I'll start closing with the words from Langston Hughes that is said to have inspired the I Have a Dream line from his poem, Harlem. What happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? Or does it fester like a sore and then run? Does it stink like rotten meat? Or crust and sugar over like syrupy sweet? Maybe it sags like a heavy load, or maybe it explodes. I am still imagining my dream, maintaining it, checking on it, cultivating it. Every day I unlearn nightmares and I'm able to grow more connected to my ancestors' vision. So take a moment and dream with me. Just a few seconds. Close your eyes, quiet your mind, ground your feet, and lean a little forward. Can you see it? Can you hear it? Can you feel it? Our dream. So remember, declare your dream, maintain your dream, connect your dream to others. Thank you and protect your magic.